Hi, it's Deborah Coulter. The assignment is to create some type of a work task for a student who maybe needs help with, any number of things, but linear progression of skills, knowing when to finish one thing and start another. And there are lots of kids that had trouble with that, regardless of whether they fell under the autism spectrum disorder umbrella or not. Last year, I had a student, his name was Elijah, and he was a challenge for various reasons, one of which he came to school with nothing to eat. And so I learned real quickly to get that kid some goldfish right away. But even so, his big motivator or reinforcer was to have the attention of the class and the teacher. And it really didn't matter to him whether it was, negative or positive attention. He liked to make people laugh, though. And something he did from the beginning was to raise his hand at an appropriate time when you really are expecting an answer. And I would call on him, and it would be, when's snack? Or, when's recess? So I learned I had lunch with him early on, maybe the second week of school, and talked to him and said, you've been using that privacy folder when you do your independent work, and it's been working well. And I think let's put a schedule inside your privacy folder, and it'll tell you when things are, because you seem to want to talk a lot aloud about when's this and when's that, and that'll help you know when things are. Now, the catch here, Elijah, is that you may no longer raise your hand to ask me when things are, because it's going to be right there in front of you when you need to see. I'm going to make it visual. You're going to see the time. I'm even going to move snack up a little bit. It used to be at 10 o'clock. I'm going to make it at 9 o'clock just for you, buddy. And then because you like the attention of the class, I'm going to allow you to have, during snack time, and it's only about 5 minutes, you can entertain us, tell us a funny story, but you've got to save them. You can't interrupt class anymore to make kids laugh. Do we have a deal? And he took it, and he was good with it. This isn't the exact schedule. He's an older kid, so he wouldn't have wanted it to be so elementary looking, but I'm not doing a good job of this at all. It told arrival time, maybe, and then some activities we would have to do at certain times of the morning, and eventually it told him that, snack time was at 9 o'clock. It was a visual, and it helped him to remember that he is just not allowed to interrupt class to ask these things anymore. Now, when we came back in from recess, we would have to do workstations, and for me, that allowed me to do guided reading with classes, and he, as you can imagine, any kid who struggles with structure, he did great when he was with me at teacher time at the guided reading table, but when it was time for him to be out and about in other independent activities, things that he's just practicing, that he's mastered, he tended to just goof off. And so I made something similar to this that it showed him some particular stations and put them in a certain order. Whereas other kids might start with something fun like self-selected reading, I couldn't really do that with him. I had to save the fun thing for last, so maybe a little sticky note, telling him that was the last thing he was going to do. Self-checking activities, he wouldn't check like he should. He'd just kind of slap some answers down and turn it in. So I knew that maybe he should start with that and then come to me at teacher table, and I would use the first 1 or 2 minutes of that time. Hey, Elijah, go ahead and bring me that self-checking activity. We're going to look at it, make sure you did it appropriately. And he learned eventually that he better just do it right the first time and save some time. And anyway, then he would move on to something more fun, self-selected reading. He was a challenge, and it was worthwhile, and next year I'll be working with him again because I'm the intervention teacher and he's in reading intervention. This was a way to organize work tasks for him, but I think it would be good for lots of kiddos who need to see a schedule and need to see things. I didn't use Velcro or fancy, I didn't laminate it even, because I changed it so often that it would have been kind of a waste maybe. And sticky notes are so much easier for me with 9 and 10 and 11-year-olds. Anyway, thanks a lot.